For 1,000 years, the galaxy was silent about one name, Earth. No one spoke of humans anymore. They were gone, erased from the stars after the Great War. The planets that once feared them had turned their memory into stories. Bedtime tales told to scare young alien children, but legends have a strange way of returning. One cold night in the outer rim, a lonely satellite picked up a strange signal, faint, broken, and ancient. It was written in an old Terran language no one had seen for centuries. The signal carried just 3 words, Earth Fleet returning. At first, the Galactic Council laughed. They said it was a ghost transmission, maybe an echo from the past. But when they traced the signal's origin, their faces turned pale. It came from deep within the Orion Belt, a dead zone where no ship had survived before. Admiral Kor of the Vulcan Empire stared at the data feed. The signal kept repeating, steady and strong. Impossible, he whispered. Humans were wiped out. We made sure of it. Yet the readings were clear. Massive energy spikes, ship-sized heat signatures, moving in perfect formation. Something was waking up. The quiet of space began to hum with power. Distant sensors caught flashes of blue light, and for the first time in centuries the galaxy trembled. A forgotten world was whispering again. Somewhere beyond the dark nebula, engines that had slept for ages roared to life. The message repeated one last time, louder, clearer, unstoppable. Earth Fleet, returning. The Galactic Council gathered in panic. 12 alien species filled the Grand Chamber, their voices echoing with fear and disbelief. None of them wanted to admit it, but deep down they all knew the truth. The humans might have returned. For generations they had taught that humanity was extinct, destroyed in the Great Purge. But old soldiers remembered things that history books hid. Burning worlds, shattered fleets and human war machines that fought even after their crews had died. Now, the signal had broken the peace that lasted for centuries. Admiral Kor stood before the Council's glowing map. "We are facing a ghost," he said in a low voice. "A ghost that remembers us." The Council ordered probes to investigate. 3 drones entered the Orion Belt. All vanished within minutes. No signal, no debris, nothing. It was as if they were swallowed by space itself. Then a transmission arrived. Static filled the air. A broken voice whispered through the noise. "Do not approach. Earth Fleet, active." The chamber fell silent. No one moved. The Council's leader, High Chancellor Vren, spoke softly. "If humans live, we must stop them before they rise again." But it was already too late. Across the galaxy, strange readings appeared. Gravitational waves, unknown energy bursts, mechanical movement in deep space. The stars themselves seemed to pulse with warning. Admiral Kor looked out from his flagship window. In the far distance, a tiny blue flare glowed and vanished. He felt something he had not felt in 1,000 years. Fear. "They're not gone," he muttered. "They were just waiting." And far beyond the Orion Belt, ancient engines continued to awaken. The forgotten enemy was no longer forgotten. Deep inside the Orion Belt, hidden among dead stars and frozen debris, a vast metal structure began to move. It wasn't a planet. It wasn't a station. It was a shipyard, ancient and colossal, built by human hands long before the Great War. Dust drifted away as massive steel hangar doors opened for the first time in centuries. Inside, thousands of dreadnoughts slept in silence, dark, cold, waiting. Then, one by one, their engines came alive. Blue light spilled across the void. The hum of reactors shook the ancient halls. Massive ships, each the size of cities, lifted slowly into the black sky. Their hulls were old but unbroken. The flag of Earth still marked their sides, faded but proud. On the bridge of the lead dreadnought stood Captain Elias Kane, the last commander of the old fleet. His face was scarred, his eyes calm. He had been frozen in stasis for 500 years, waiting for the signal. "All systems online," the ship's AI announced. "Mission directive restored. Return to Sol." Kane took a deep breath. "Then let's bring our people home." Around him, the fleet formed into perfect formation. Thousands of ships aligning in silence, as if answering an ancient call. The void filled with light. Engines blazed like newborn stars. The lost fleet of Earth, The armada of the fallen was finally awake. Across the galaxy, scanners overloaded. Alarms screamed. Civilizations panicked. The legend of humanity had stepped out of myth and into reality. As the fleet turned toward the Milky Way, Kane whispered to himself, "We were forgotten, but not gone." And with that, 10,000 ships vanished into the dark, heading home. The first reports reached the Galactic Council within hours. Entire scout fleets had vanished near the Orion Belt. No distress calls, no wreckage, just silence. The Council's chambers filled with tension as every empire sent the same message. Unknown force detected. Panic spread like wildfire. The Vulcan Empire raised its defenses. The Draenix colonies evacuated border worlds. Even the proud Serath Dominion, who once claimed to destroy Earth, locked their space gates and went dark. Yet deep inside, every species knew what this meant. Humanity had returned. Admiral Kor watched from the bridge of his flagship Eternal Shadow. His fleet hovered on the edge of the dark zone, sensors locked on a strange light emerging from the void. "Maintain distance," he ordered, though his voice trembled. Then the stars flickered. Space bent. Thousands of human dreadnoughts appeared without warning, silent, colossal, unstoppable. Their armor gleamed like black mirrors reflecting the stars themselves. "No sound, no communication, only power, by the stars," Kor whispered. A single transmission broke the silence. "This sector belongs to Earth. Withdraw immediately." Before the Council could respond, light filled the darkness. Human ships fired, beams of pure energy slicing through entire armadas in seconds. Alien cruisers melted, stations vanished, planets shook under the shockwaves. When the firing stopped, only debris remained. Across the galaxy, a deep fear took hold. The children of Earth, the same beings they had mocked and hunted, had returned with vengeance in their eyes. No one spoke for days. No one dared to send ships near the Orion Belt again. And as the destroyed fleets drifted among the stars, one message played on every channel: calm, emotionless, and final: humanity remembers. Silence fell across the galaxy. The great empires, once proud and fearless, now hid behind their borders. Every transmission, every frequency was filled with one repeating message: calm, steady, impossible to ignore. "We are not your enemies. But we remember what you did." The voice was human, strong, deep, filled with quiet anger. It spread to every planet, every ship, every colony. No one could block it. No one could trace it. On the council world of Veltar, High Chancellor Vren listened in shock. "It's them," she whispered. "It's really them." Then the message continued. A hologram appeared showing a man, Captain Elias Kane. His uniform was old, his eyes tired but unbroken. "Centuries ago you feared us. You united to destroy Earth, believing humanity was too dangerous to exist. You burned our home. You hunted our people. But you failed. The galaxy watched in silence. We survived. We built new worlds in the dark, hidden from your eyes, far beyond your maps. And now the children of those who escaped have returned. Not for revenge, but for remembrance. Behind him, thousands of dreadnoughts hovered, calm, silent, waiting. We offer peace, but we will never kneel again." When the transmission ended, the stars seemed quieter. The council argued for hours, some calling for surrender, others whispering of another war. But deep down, they all knew the truth. Humanity had risen from ashes stronger than before. Across forgotten worlds, old monuments to Earth were uncovered. Ancient human weapons reactivated. The very galaxy seemed to awaken alongside them, and from the darkness one phrase echoed endlessly through the void: "Earth remembers." For the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy stood still. The fleets of alien empires hovered in silence, staring at the endless wall of Terran dreadnoughts that filled the stars. No one dared to fire. No one dared to speak. Captain Elias Kane stood on the bridge of the flagship Solar Requiem, watching Earth appear on the main screen. Once a dead world, now alive again, blue and shining. His eyes softened. "Home," he whispered. The Earth fleet entered orbit, thousands of ships aligning above the planet like a silver shield. Cities below glowed with light, rebuilt by those who never gave up. Humanity had returned, not as conquerors but as survivors. Across the galaxy, the message was clear: The age of silence was over. Every empire received a single transmission from Earth Command. We seek peace, not war. But we will never be forgotten again. The words echoed through every system, every station, every ship. Even the strongest alien rulers bowed their heads. They had mocked the humans once. Now they watched as an entire species reclaimed its place among the stars. Admiral Kor, once their greatest enemy, stood before the council and said quietly, "Perhaps it is time we learn. Not to fear them, but to remember them." Far above, the Terran Armada drifted like a constellation of ghosts finally finding rest. Captain Kane looked toward the sun and gave his final order. "Set a course for the stars. Let them see who we are." Engines ignited. The sky blazed with light, and as the fleet rose once more into the deep black, a voice echoed across the galaxy, soft, powerful, eternal. "They thought humanity was extinct. Until we returned from the stars.